A small, mid-20th century social service-style structure is a waystation between life and death. Every Monday, a group of recently deceased people check in. The social workers in the lodge ask them to go back over their life and choose one single memory to take into the afterlife. They are given just a couple of days to identify their happiest memory, after which the workers design, stage and film them. In this way, the souls will be able to re-experience this moment for eternity, forgetting the rest of their life. They will spend eternity within their happiest memory. 22 souls of different ages and backgrounds arrive and are received by the counselors, who explain to them their situation. Lengthy interviews take place in the lodge, with each person having different perspectives of their lives. There is a gentle old woman whose fondest memory is cherry blossoms. There is an aviator whose happiest moments were spent flying through the clouds. There is also a teenager whose happiest memory is a ride at Disneyland. Told that 30 other children, teens have chosen Disneyland rides, she is gently coaxed into coming up with something more original from her childhood. The scent of fresh laundry and the feeling of her mother, whom she was cuddling against. A 78-year-old woman talks about a new dress her brother bought her for a childhood dance recital. A brother she loved and took care of, until the very end. A prostitute remembers a client who was kind. A potential suicide victim recalls what made him pull back from the brink. An old man remembers the breeze on his face when he rode a trolley to school. An older man incessantly talks about sex and prostitutes, but ultimately chooses a memory in which his daughter hands him the bouquet at her wedding. A wild-haired 21-year-old wearing leather pants refuses point-blank to choose anything at all. The story pays most attention to the two younger counselors, Takashi and Shiori. Takashi has been assigned to help Ichiro Watanabe, a 70-year-old man who glumly remembers his dull, conventional life in an arranged marriage as unfulfilling. To jog his memory, Takashi plays back excerpts from a file of year-by-year videotapes recording Watanabe's life. Takashi learns from the films that Watanabe's wife, from Watanabe's arranged marriage, was also Takashi's love of his life and fiancé, and that the two men are about the same age. Takashi died in his early 20s in the Philippines in World War II and has been working at the processing center since then. He, like the other clerks, was unwilling to choose a memory and must remain in limbo, working at the processing center, until they choose a memory. Takashi requests Watanabe to be assigned to another counselor, but his request is not granted. Near the end of the week, Watanabe decides which memory to keep. Watanabe apologies to Takashi for causing Takashi trouble and picking a memory so late. Takashi asks him to not apologize and reveals to Watanabe that all the counselors staying in the lodge are souls who refused or were unable to choose a memory. The social workers recreate the memories by filming on sets with basic stage props. Cotton balls serve as clouds for the pilot. An audio recording of street noise is played while the old man stands in a trolley and social workers jostle the trolley to replicate movement. On Saturday, the 22 hosted souls watch the films of their recreated memories in a screening room and, as soon as each person sees their own, they vanish. Takashi, while putting away the videotapes from Watanabe's room, finds a letter from Watanabe saying Watanabe realized that his wife was Takashi's fiancée, and his wife had visited Takashi's grave every year, alone, during her and Watanabe's marriage. Watanabe writes in his letter that he appreciates Takashi's kindness in not mentioning that he was his wife's dead fiancé, and that it was only through his experience with Takashi and watching the videotapes that he was able to come to peace with his life and choose a memory with his wife. Takashi talks to Shiori about his life, and Shiori finds his fiancée's selected memory from the archive. In watching his fiancée's selected memory, Takashi realizes she chose a memory with him before his death. In discovering that he had figured in his fiancée's chosen moment to cherish, Takashi comes to the realization that I have learnt I was part of someone else's happiness. He chooses that moment of realization as his sliver of life to be filmed and abandons the way station forever, spending eternity in this memory. The film ends with Shiori, now a full-fledged counselor, practicing for an interview.